Okay, so the Russians and the Ukrainians signed a deal to open up the port, probably the port of Odessa. So the poor, starving people around the world can get grain. So I don't know how obvious a trap has to be before you call bullshit on it, but you know, that seems like a trap. As soon as you unmine those harbors, Putin's gonna fucking invade Odessa hardcore. Like, this is the thing. I haven't heard anyone fucking talk about this yet. I just like saw the headline. I'm like, I don't buy it. I don't buy it because Putin rolled a lot of bones on getting Ukraine for reasons that I don't fully understand. Um, I think that there are legitimate reasons for what he's doing, why he's doing, but sorry for why he's doing what he's doing. But I don't think we're going to know what those are because we don't know what the Russians know, much less what our State Department knows. And we would need to know both to get a full picture of what's going on. And I honestly don't think we'll ever know what's going on in our State Department ever again. I uh, I don't know exactly what's going on, to be honest. Our withdrawal from Afghanistan was weird as fuck, and then Russia feeling bold enough to invade. That was a 1-2 punch of something. And I think it could be that some of the UFOs we've been seeing are Russian or Chinese advanced aircraft of some sort. And maybe it's that, we have that Bob Lazar shit. Maybe they've fucking got their own Bob Lazar shit. But the only reason Russia would sign this deal would be to get the ports unmined and invade. They don't give a fuck about the world starving. Like, that's the thing you need to get about Russia is Russia's kind of a brutal place and has been for its entire history. There's a story about Peter the Great building a fucking castle in a swamp. I think he built two or three of them in the swamp because they kept sinking into the swamp. And every time this happened, they lost a shit ton of workers building the new castle and more people when the fucking thing sunk. That's an average day in Russia. You know, we fed the 100 people to bog, but yeah, it was a good day. Like, I love Russians, but even Russians would admit to you that individually, that's fine. As a group of 30 people, well, that could go wrong. As a group of millions, are you fucking kidding me? They 100% should not be the largest nuclear power, but yet they are. And somehow, I think it's good that they are. And the reason I say that is, I think Vladimir Putin right now is playing some game of fucking chess with the New World Order. I've said that for a while. I don't fully understand that. I don't fully understand who's fighting who. Because it seems like if anyone's the New World Order, it's China. And seems like Pooty Poo's buddies with China. I don't know. I think the real nature of what's going on is, as usual, it's more complex. And it's not that there's one New World Order, it's that there's probably four. There's four groups of countries or whatever that are going, oh shit, the US is on the decline. We could take our chance to be great and yada, yada, yada. This is the nature of people. believe it or not. And there's a certain amount of people right now that are convinced either people will never use nuclear weapons or it doesn't matter if they do. And that's interesting. It, I honestly, I think we've had nuclear wars on this planet before. That's why I don't completely dismiss their theories about it not mattering if we did. I think in reality, it would take a lot of nuclear bombs, all dropped simultaneously, all across the planet, to even come close to making the planet uninhabitable. It would probably suck. Not saying it wouldn't suck, but like this is the thing is if the planet will eventually come back and you can give a rough estimate of how long that's going to be, well, that's when really dark people start making dark plans. And that's been a thing ever since we've had nukes. And that may be some of what's going on. I think there's enough people tired of dealing with various powers that be, not so much the United States. I think, strangely enough, the United States as a whole, I think most of the world likes doing what it does for the most part, except for China, Russia, a couple small countries. But it's, you know, all the extra shit that gets pushed through that I think people don't like. It's, if you look at our fucking economy, there's a lot of stuff that's really cheap in America because of slave labor, basically. That's not a popular thing to discuss, but like wherever you're getting shit from that you can get a watch for $40, yeah, that thing is probably made by slaves or something very, very close to it. Uh, Especially if it's a nice watch that keeps time. Like that, it had to be assembled. There's not a robot that can put a watch together. Yeah, there are some parts now, but like it's like a rifle. There's not a robot that can put a rifle together. So there's someone who their entire day is assembling nothing but thousands of these fucking watches to sell you. It's crazy to me. I don't know the answer to that, but I'm trying to live my life a different way, and a big part of it is being less consumer oriented or whatever. And like, I'm buying shit and keeping it. Yeah, not everything. Some things I'm still gonna trade through and roll through or whatever, and buy new things like knives. That's just me. I like to play with knives. I'm always gonna buy cheap, cool knives as I see them, and I'm probably always going to play with them and modify them and give them away and sell them and keep some. And that's just what I do. And with a lot of like the economic hard times that are coming up, I think a lot of people are gonna have to pick the thing that they like to do, and that's gonna be the thing that they spend whatever excess money that they have on. And I think for a lot of people, we're gonna see what they really care about. For me, all of my money is going towards prepping, obviously, but like I'm prepping by doing various things with my stuff that makes me better off. So like I'm building the van to have kind of a mobile adventure vehicle thing to go anywhere, do anything I want to do. And the other goal of that is like once you have a place that you can cook and sleep out of that has a fucking office in the front of it, you could live out of that van for a long time if you had to. That's not like a plan A for sure, but that's definitely always a backup now. And like this is why it matters what you buy. This is why you don't spend $10,000 on a Rolex, in my opinion. Like, you can, but like I spent $40 on a Timex, and I spent $2,000 on a van, and I spent the rest of the watch money on electronics to go in the van and other things to go in the van that I will need. So like I have a bitchin' first aid kit and a whole bunch of little add-ons and shit for the van that I've yet to install and put on, that I'm just going to do that as I have time, and some of it's as I have money because they haven't been ordered from Amazon yet. Some of them are just sitting in a box over there. But it's one of those things that, like, I want to do some things right away, and some things I'm kind of like, I don't know if I really want to go through all that trouble. I want to see how the van shakes out first before I go dumping a bunch of work into it. And that's half why the project's on hold. Shit. That was my watch. In case you're wondering why we're talking about watches. I don't know for sure that Russia's gonna fucking invade. But like that seems like the obvious fucking thing, right? Like everyone keeps ratcheting up the fucking tensions. Everybody seems to want to go to war. And I don't think it's that everybody wants to go to war. It's there are things loose on the earth that are fucking, causing us to go to war. Pestilence, famine, the four horsemen of the apocalypse: pestilence, famine, death, war. It's probably not a good sign that we're going through the horsemen, eh? But my thing is, people in the 1930s would have said the same fucking thing. Of course, in my opinion, they're kind of right. Their world effectively ended. A newer, better world was born on the other side of it in some ways, but everything was a lot more controlled. And I'm a little worried that we're about to see that again. We're like, yep, we live in the Star Trek like future, but you don't get to enjoy it ever because you're a fucking slave to Amazon or whatever the fuck it is. And I just hope enough people wake up and stop doing shit for them. And I don't mean buying shit from them, and I don't mean like working for them or whatever. I mean all of it. I mean, at the moment, I'm still buying shit from Amazon, but that's probably going to end eventually. I'm going to figure out another service to use or something. Go to Walmart maybe. And like that's the thing is Amazon doesn't really have anything that I couldn't get elsewhere, but I pay for the streaming service for a couple of shows, and I use the shipping occasionally, and it's convenient. But at the same time, like that's one of 1,000 things that's slowly destroying our world. These mega corporations that figured out, if we just make it fucking easy as shit for people to use our site to order everything and then give them free shipping and then just develop a way to pay for that somehow. Boom, Amazon. It's really not that hard to predict. It's like a race to the bottom, right? That's any racket, it seems like. And that's all business is a fucking racket to make money. And this is why I think all businesses are inevitably doomed to failure. Because eventually the times change. And like unless you have another person like a son to a father who has the same inventive spirit, but for a new generation, unless you have somebody like that come along, it's hard for a fucking company to continue. Ford, for example, yes, Ford is still around, but Ford has its ups and downs for sure. And I think, you know, the original idea of the Ford Motor Company is pretty admirable. He made like the cheapest car on the market. And, it wasn't the best car, but it was a pretty damn good car for less than half of what the closest competition was. And he did it right. Like, he didn't sell one car, he sold 10 million cars. And, once you're making them at that scale, you can make it a hell of a lot cheaper. Well, this has kind of gotten really far off track from Russia invading Ukraine. I ran out of stuff to talk about that. I wanted to do a short video to go with the long one and do some news and some bullshit. There's been a lot of weird shit in the news lately. I think we summoned Gozer. You, Gozer the Gozerian? Well, I'm Gozer the Gozerian, all of you guys. There is no Dana. There is only Zool.